You can now buy a Tesla Model S Plaid for $45,000. That's right, $45K for a 1,000 horsepower electric appliance. That's crazy talk. $45,000 for a car that is as quick as a legitimate supercar like the Ferrari SF90. That means you're paying $45 per horse. When I bought my Porsche 911, I paid almost $200 per horse for that car. I bought my Tesla Model S Plaid almost a year ago now, and when I bought it, I thought I was getting a fantastic deal. Little did I know that Tesla Model S Plaid prices would keep decreasing and basically fall off a cliff. The kind of value you're getting for your money when you pay $45,000 for a 1,000 horsepower Tesla is absolutely nuts. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about why that's happening and why these prices are as low as they are. First of all, Tesla is not the only game in town. Have you seen the number of EVs out there? Every car manufacturer is building an EV. And you have startups like Rivian, Lucid, and Fisker. Well, Fisker is now bankrupt, but that just tells you how difficult it is to build a car company. I've reviewed a lot of these EVs on my channel, like the Hyundai Ioniq, the Ford Lightning, Volvo Polestar. These are some great EVs, and competition for Tesla is through the roof. Then you have the incredibly cheap BYD, which is an EV manufacturer in China. These guys are killing their competition globally. Thank God they're not in the US, because if they were, nobody else would buy anything. And you know why? BYD sells their entry-level EV for $10,000. That is such a low price point. Would you rather get 2 Japanese high-end toilets with bidets or a brand new electric car from BYD? Tesla sales dropped for the first time in 2024, and this is despite the fact that Tesla keeps dropping the prices of their cars. You can now get a brand new Model 3 for only $299 a month if you lease it, and Tesla is also running ads, which they've never done before. What makes this news tough for Tesla is Ford in the fourth quarter sold 30,000 EVs, 16% higher than what they sold in the prior year, and GM is also selling more EVs than past years as well. That's not a surprise, because I recently talked about the Mach-E, which I think is a great EV, and the sales are finally starting to increase. Just to be clear, these numbers are peanuts compared to what GM and Ford sell with their combustion engine vehicle, but if you think about it, the EV numbers have nowhere to go but up, because people are starting to get warmed up to the idea of EVs more broadly. Besides all of the competition, a big part of the problem with Tesla is that the models are starting to look dated. My Tesla Model S Plaid is a 2021, but it doesn't look that much different from a 2012 when the Model S first got introduced. And to most people, they probably can't even tell what is a 2012 versus what is a 2024. On the inside, of course, Tesla's made lots of updates. It's vastly improved. You have this big center screen, not anything like the old one used to be, and there's almost no buttons and switches on the inside. But overall, if you look at the updates on Tesla, it's kind of like the iPhone. You can't tell an iPhone 16 apart from the 15 or 12 or even the iPhone 5 for that matter. Obviously, there's been a lot of changes, a lot of enhancements on hardware, on software, but to the average person, it all kind of looks and feels the same. And that's what's happening with Tesla. Maybe Tesla went too revolutionary with their first model, and how do you revolutionize something that's already revolutionary? Unless you introduce something called the RoboCab, which completely eliminates human drivers. Now that is a future I'm not looking forward to at all. I love driving. Now Tesla did try to inject some life into its brand by introducing the Cybertruck. It was really exciting, really cool, but people are just not gravitating towards it. I think the Cybertruck is too much for most people. It does look futuristic, it looks like it belongs in a sci-fi movie, but I think it's too ahead of its time. In a few years, people might be used to it, but for now, most people don't like this huge box of metal. Some people think it looks like a dumpster. The reality is, most people just can't get over how it looks. If the Cybertruck looked more like a normal car, I think a lot more people would be interested in it. The other problem is that the Cybertruck is way too expensive. Starting at $80,000, it's still out of reach for a lot of people, so it won't really quite take off in the same way that the Model 3 or the Model Y did. What happened to the $25,000 Model 2? That would have been a huge hit and probably would have taken the market by storm. Because Tesla's been facing all these headwinds, Elon has been dropping prices on Teslas for a long time now. Besides the one you can get for $299, a brand new Tesla Model S Plaid you can get for under $100,000. The same one just in 2021 was over $150,000. So all the low new car prices means, as you might be expecting, used car EV prices are depressed. Recently, I made a video where I talked about used Model 3s that you can purchase for under $20,000 that are just a few years old. The used Model 3 Teslas are incredible values now, even used Model S's. I don't know if these things will have a floor. Tesla depreciation is so crazy that maybe in a couple years you can get a $5,000 Model 3. All this is hitting my Model S Plaid pretty hard. $45,000 for this thing? That's really mind-blowing. There's nowhere else on the planet that you could get a 1,000 horsepower car for this cheap, even if it's banged up with 1,000,000 miles and been in all these accidents. What other 1,000 horsepower car can you get for $45,000? A Lamborghini Revuelto? Forget it. A Bugatti Chiron? In your dreams. A Lucid Sapphire? Maybe. Lucid might be following the same fate as Tesla's, maybe even worse. 1,200 horsepower car in 3 years you can get for $20,000. EVs in the used market will always be less attractive than new ones because of the $7,500 federal government incentive. I'm sure lots of people have bought new EVs because of that incentive. And with used EVs, there's the additional concern of battery life. Will that battery go the distance? What's going to happen to this EV 5-10 years from now? People are just worried about used EVs, so demand is not nearly as strong as other normal combustion engine vehicles. But that just means you have a huge supply of EVs in the used market. Not only can you get great deals on Teslas, check out this Kia EV6 for $20,000, just a couple of years old. And the EV6 is a really good EV to buy. There's another big problem with EVs, and that's charging. With Tesla, there's no concern. You have superchargers everywhere. They've made it really easy. But with normal public chargers, they're really hard to find. And if you do find them, they're either broken or they're completely full. So having a non-Tesla EV is really quite painful when it comes to charging. And Tesla is trying to fix that because they're offering adapters for other vehicles, for other EVs, where you can use the Tesla supercharger. But that's going to take some time to take hold, and most people might not even realize that that's what's happening today. But if you're going to take road trips or drive long distances, having an EV is extremely stressful because you have to plan your trips around chargers and figure out where these things are in different cities. And the batteries are not going to hold their charge long if you have the AC cranked up or if you have a heavy foot. I know this from experience because you can see the battery charge on the Tesla dropping the more ambitious you are with the acceleration. An EV as a daily commuter car is perfect. Just drive a few miles every day, plug it into your home charger, and you're set. And if you have a house, it's a lot easier to own an EV than if you live in an apartment where charging is still as painful. Until charging becomes just as easy as filling up your gas tank, EVs are just not going to have widespread adoption. So there you go. That's why you have massive depreciation, and for Tesla, the situation is even worse. And that's a shame, especially for the Plaid, because it truly is an outstanding daily commuter like I talked about in this video. And to think $45,000 is a screaming deal for this kind of a car. If you're in the market for a daily commuter and you own a home, a cheap used EV is a no-brainer purchase, and it doesn't even have to be a Tesla. Look at any of the Hyundais or Kias or Mach-E's. These are going to be really good daily commuter cars. As far as the Plaid goes, I would tell you to go buy one, but just wait one more year because the $45,000 might be cut in half, and you might be able to get a $20,000, 1,000 horsepower incredible machine.